맞춰볼까?
각오가 부족하군. 여기까지다.
Welcome to the channel. I am Ladewaybac, and today I'm going to show you what I've learned and how to win with Vanguard. First, we're going to go over Vanguard's buttons, and starting with A. Every button for Vanguard is pretty important, so even this move right here, right? So we got characters like Swiftmaster who's just really fast. Just look at that, right? And he'll get a whole combo off of that. So what we do to keep out rolling opponents and opponents who have like really fast attacks to get in on us, we just kind of throw that out, right? And it's a two-hitter. You can do it even if it doesn't connect. So it's harder for your opponent to like find a way through that. So you know you want to space your opponent out with this. And also, you can cancel into that right there. So let's make our opponent block. I mean, not block. So as long as that hits. And for the most part, you can get it with the second part, but not every time. See, like if you do it max range, that's not gonna happen. But you know, if you hit the first hit, you can definitely get it. So you can use that as a poke. Just kind of throw it out there. And it's very effective for opponents who roll, as we can just do the second part to hit them when they roll in. But if you do it like at maximum speed, and you don't really call out the roll there, it will just kind of make you guys neutral like that. But oh, this is a good way to also talk about the 2A. This is your fastest button. It's a 7-frame startup, so it's really fast, really fast. The range is short, but you know you have somebody rolling on you, you just combo off of that. So if you're in a block string and you know a little part in the block string that you can get out with this, just know this is your fastest button. So if you're gonna get out of a block string, that's probably your best bet. The range is really small, but it's your fastest button. Next button we have is our 5B. This will be one of our main combo starters. And if you're further away, you end with this right here. Now, I say it's best used, or one of my favorite uses for it, is anti-airing people. So they jump, that's hitting. Right? Even if they're like really close to you, that's hitting. And you always just follow up with the 2B, and then you got a combo. And it's very effective against characters who are jumping back on you, right? Like a lot of characters will do that, like, and then like well, not a lot of characters, mostly Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight will jump back, you just run up on her and do it. Or if your opponent's just scared of you. Even Kuonichis might be jumping back a lot. So always be ready to just kind of throw this out. Like as soon as you see them like get off the ground, you got a combo. It's very strong. Like no matter, like even if it's clear like right above you, man, you're getting a combo off of that. But if obviously if they're right above you, I just want to say this just so nobody gets it wrong. And you're gonna go for a bigger combo. You just gotta knock them on the ground and then do your big combos off. Now 2B, you'll mostly be using it after your 5B because they come together rather easily. It has a very long recovery. So if you're using this while an opponent is jumping, you're probably gonna get hit. Well, 9 times out of 10 you're getting hit. So I usually don't throw this out by itself unless I know my opponent is gonna be backing up. So let's say our opponent's backing up. If he wants to like create distance, then he has to. Then he's unable to block down. So that's a good way to catch opponents who are retreating. And also, I just call it my anti-grappler button because all of his counters and his grab stuff, all his armor stuff, basically, you can just sweep him out of it. And for combos, in case they're too far, you could always just go for that. So if you're hitting max range, that'll always hit. But if you're just trying to do the regular one, then yeah, that's not gonna hit the 5M. Because yeah, it'll hit if you're closer. But usually if you're just gonna use this by itself, you'll be doing it for max range. So just kind of follow up with that right there. The 6M. Next, let's talk about our skills. It's these swings right here. Normally you want to use these together to get your opponent close to you, so you can go for your combos and also use them to extend your combos, like so. So you can always just keep your combos going using them. So you'll be using these a lot as Vanguard. Now I want to talk about these skills individually. You want to, what's really important about these is you want to know the range. So the range of the 5S is very, very far. So right, these are our ranges right here with our 5A. And you know our 5A and our 5B are kind of, it's basically the same range, right? So this is our 5A range, and this is our 5S range. So this is very far. And one thing that's important to know, that you might not be able to get certain things off the range. So like I hit that right there, I can't hit the back one because it's max range. So you want to be aware of your range. So if you're closer, you can combo that together. But if you're hitting max range, that's not comboing. So what you want to do with the 5S is you want to hit it from max. If you're hitting it max range, then follow up with the 6S, because that'll be guaranteed every time, no matter how far you are. So even at the max range, right? Just get right there. That's land. And then you follow up with a 6M. And that will also land, like, no matter what. So as long as you hit this, and the 6M, that's a guaranteed combo. As long as that lands. Next, we'll talk about our 6S. This is our furthest range, right here. You go all the way back and take a few steps forward, and you're already able to hit. The only problem with this is it's hard to get follow-ups at times, because if you're hitting at the maximum range, find it here. See that hit there? I was just inside of the maximum range, but if you're at the tippity tip, that's gonna miss. But if you are in, like, not too far from the end of it, you can just chain it into the 6S. And then that won't land afterwards either. So it's iffy. You kind of have to choose your follow-up. Normally I would go for the 6M, because it's more guaranteed. But yeah, just know that it's like your furthest reaching move. So be sure to throw it out there every now and then, especially if you're getting zoned. Next up we have our 2S. It can work as an anti-air. I prefer to use the B version. It's just kind of easier to do. So they're jumping at me. It's just easier. It just feels easier. But you know, you can do you can do a simple combo off of it. Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing a full combo, but I just did that, so it is what it is. If I'm using the 2S, normally, he's already guarding. I use it to add to the block string here, so I can get some more damage to the guard gauge. And then you just gotta cancel it. So you know, you always gotta mix it up. So you always have your fourth option there. I just use it to go after the guard gauge, especially when I'm in awakening mode. That's usually when I will go for it. But other than that, that's mostly what I use the 2S for. I don't really anti-air with it because I feel like I have a better button for that. But I just kind of use it to extend the skills. And lastly, for skills, we have our 4S. This is my favorite one because it's kind of like a retreating attack, right? And it always brings us close enough to get our big damage combo, so we can always be in range to get that right there, so we can continue our combo every time. So usually it's good to finish with that one if possible. Always best to finish this if possible, because like if your opponent does like a guard break, not a guard break, but a guard cancel or a DP, then you'll be retreating attack and they'll stay in place as they do it, and you can either continue the combo if they do a guard cancel, or if it's a DP, it'll just kind of go right through it, which which I am going to go into next here. And lastly, with skills, be sure to try to fish out attacks from your opponent. So let's say we have him doing a reversal. I have him doing a light attack, right? Is A. If we delay it, we can catch him there. Get a counter hit, and that's a combo. Now, if our opponent is doing a reversal and we're delaying, we can get caught unless the last one you're doing is the 4C, the 4S. And then you just go over for it again, right? So I like to end with that one because it puts me in a safer spot. And this works for a lot of DPs too. I say the one that it works the least best with is probably troubleshooters because it goes so far. But for most characters, just finish with that and you'll be safe. Just finish with the 4S. So if you're hunting for counter hits, try to end with 4S. So if they DB through it, then you get hit. Now it can be a little tricky with when it comes to roll. Because if you delay, then they'll just be right on you. So just always finish with 4C. And then you'll still be able to get that counter hit. Well, not a counter hit, but you'll be able to catch them off the roll. So you can just kind of wait for it, right? You just kind of bait these things out. Because I'm not necessarily connecting them. I'm doing it like as soon as the animation ends, and then I do it right afterwards. So you can do that. You just gotta find your own way to fish out for counters, bait out rolls, and bait out DPs. So, and remember, this all starts off of this combo right here. So when they block that, because they'll notice that they can't do anything on wake up. When they start blocking that, that's when we start doing our nonsense. And then like when they're still blocking, we try to bait out a DP or a reversal. That's when we'll start over and then end with this instead of starting with it. Alright, next on to our MP skills. We'll start with the 4M. Now, I see this best as a combo extender or just used in combos, but it can be used in case like your opponent is rolling at you. If you're thinking of rolls coming, you can just use it preemptively and they'll just kind of roll right into that. And it is effective against if they're trying to cross you, right? So he can do that right there. And if he's behind us, that's gonna hit him right off. So it can be used pretty good as a defensive tool, defensive tool and a combo ender and a combo extender. Alright, I have switched the opponent to striker. Now the next move I'm going to be talking about is our DP. Now I have striker here doing a dive kick. Right, just a regular dive kick by itself. You know, nothing too much. Now if we try to DP afterwards. Hold on. You notice? It just goes over her anyways. So, if you see a dive kick and it's hitting you, sure she can attack afterwards, but even so, just naturally she's gonna be going under it. And I'll just use this as an example because there's a bunch of other moves that will leave your opponent in a crouching situation too. So when you're using your DP with Vanguard, just be wary of that. And also another example. Just have a striker just kind of run at us. Yeah, that's enough to block the DP too, or at least avoid it. Just run at your opponent, and then the DP will not work on them. So if you're on the ground and like your opponent's about to attack you on wake up, if they run at you, then they can avoid the DP. So it's kind of a cool way to bait it out if you're fighting a Vanguard. Because you just kind of run at them and then maybe they'll think that's the best time to do it. I don't know. But I just want you to be aware of that. It's not a great DP, but it's really good at anti-airing. Like you'll get it guaranteed every time. And it goes pretty far too, so if anything, Vanguard's really good at stopping jumping opponents because he has a lot of moves that just stop jumping opponents. But when it comes to the pressure, not much. So just be aware that you're gonna have to play a little on hard mode. You're gonna have to know your opponent's block strings a lot better than most other people will have to know them, because you'll have to find where you can escape these things, or else you'll have to rely on your MP to do a guard cancel, which won't always be there. It won't always be there, man. You won't always have your magic. So yeah, you're gonna have to learn your opponent's block strings. I'll say watch out for like strikers, berserkers, and even Dragon Knight, man. A lot of characters have a lot of crazy block strings, so you have to know your way around them, because the DP will not save you. At least Vanguards won't. I have changed the opponent to Troubleshooter. Now next I want to talk about the 6M. 6M is you already know you can use it as the poke there with the A. And honestly, I like using it as a poke skill. Like if I'm not using, well, first I should say is if you get a hard knockdown, you can always scoop the opponent off the ground. That's what I'll say first and foremost. So they're on the ground, that can hit. Now the other use I like to use it is for a poke tool. So I just run on my opponent and do that. So I have a lot of trouble with Troubleshooter. Like sometimes it can start shooting at you, and that's almost full screen, right? So if you can read it and you just know your opponent's gonna do it, you just gotta run and just get that off there. Like if I know my opponent is doing something annoying that they can do from a long range, that's what I'll counter with. I was gonna run up and just hit that, because it goes very far, very far. And also keep in mind, you can also use your skills, because that'll go pretty far too. Especially if it gets this move, it'll be a lot faster than catching it also. But this is a safer option, because it'll even capture your jumping opponents, right? So if they're jumping, let's hit it. So basically, it'll just protect your whole front. So you want to get in on your opponent, just use that. You know, if you're looking to poke them, just throw that out. Lastly, we have our 5M here, which can be canceled into 4 different moves. And the cool thing about this is it's a 2-hitting attack. So if we're expecting our opponent to roll, like a lot of times I find with Vanguard, opponent will run at me and then roll when they get into my range. So what you can do is you can throw that out when you're expecting the roll, and the second part will hit, which will leave you free to combo them. As for the moves that come with the 5M, we have our 6M afterwards, which is our long hitting move. So if we're trying to combo our opponent and they're far away, they will end with that right there. And another thing about the move is as long as one of these hits, then you can follow up. So you can't do a follow up if nothing hits, but if just one hits, you can still do the follow up. So be wary that you can delay these, but be wary that your opponent can roll them. So you do want to look out for that. I'll show you an example here. Just have our opponent roll, so we can completely miss them. And that goes for all these skills. But if you do this one fast enough, this will land every time. But if you wait too long, it'll get rolled. And if they're close enough to you, they can just roll past the whole thing, and then you're in some trouble. Now our next one is our 4M, which is very easy to roll. So let's take that off. So the cool thing about this one is, we'll put on DP here. This one is a counter, so you can take up to 4 hits, I believe. 3 or 4 hits. I believe it's 3. So if you're expecting your opponent to attack you after this will be your best option. Usually it's best for DPs. I like to throw it when I'm like really close to my opponent while using this, and then you use to run your combo afterwards. So you probably won't find yourself throwing this out that often, but if you have an opponent who is attacking you right afterwards, that's what it's best used for. And next we have our 2M. Let's take that off. Basically, this is just our combo starter, right? We throw this out, so when we're getting hits and we're close enough to your opponent, let me throw this out so we can combo. So this is going to be a pretty big deal. So your opponent's far away and you can't slam them down. You end with the 6M, and if they're close, you use the 2M. And lastly we have this charge attack here. That's I find it best used for your guard break combos when you're trying to guard break when you're in awakening mode. But other than that, doesn't really have a great use to it. Well, it is invulnerable to projectiles, but you really won't find yourself in a situation where after you use this, your opponent is throwing out a projectile. So I say its best use is to for your block strings. Just for your block strings when you're trying to break your opponent, because then you can convert, like I showed you at the beginning of the beginning of the video, that you can use the charge and then convert there and then continue your attacks afterwards, because it will keep you closer to your opponent. Alright, on to the jumping normals. Now we have our jump A, which is a far-reaching move. So if we're looking for air-to-airs, we can hit our opponent from a long distance. Usually you should go for the jump M, but this has a slightly further range, so I'll show you by slightly. So get him right to the perfect distance. Now we can't hit him anymore, but the A can, so it goes a little further. So if we're like far back and we're trying to jump in, we can just use the jump A. So it's good. It has a good distance to it, but I prefer to use the jump M because we just knock our opponent out the sky and then take him to combo town. So also, when it comes to the jump A, it can connect to the jump M. So you can combo the two together, but it's best to just look for the jump B, because it's just easier to convert off of, and you get plenty of counter hits on it. It's fast too, so you'll get a lot of hits like that, and it's so easy to convert into because you're hitting the same button when you land. And next we have the skill. Now this hits twice if it's close, and then hits once if it's far away, and you can immediately go into your other skills. So you can do your other S moves right after this. So you just do it, skills right afterwards, they all come together. Now you should know that you can get reversed out of this. So if you're trying to follow up with your other skills, you are getting hit if your opponent is spamming DP at least. And also, put on the roll. Your opponent can roll you, but if you do the 2S, that'll hit if they're trying to roll, because it's faster than the other buttons. And then you just do whatever combo you please after that. And another cool thing about this is, let's say you got a knockdown on your opponent, right? You just gotta hop over and go for a side switch, and then combo right off of that too. So it's good. Like a lot of times you knock your opponent down and you'll do this right here. That's usually what you'll look for, but you could also switch it up too. Just kind of crush your opponent. Usually he'll be hitting something there, so a lot of times if people are looking out for grabs, if you're like running to grab them, then freaking you can just jump and just do this instead and just get a whole combo. So if your opponent is waking up and grabbing to protect themselves from your grab, then this will get you a full combo. And then you can kind of just switch between baiting out the DP and baiting out the grab. So you get a full combo either way, as long as you guess correctly. Or they can just block, and then that's when you grab them. So it's kind of like a game of rock, paper, scissors. And lastly, we have our jump special. This puts a hard knockdown on, so we could scoop them off the ground, and we could also cancel into it also as well. But Yeah, I just like to use that for a combo extender. It wouldn't really be something that you just kind of throw out like that. Unless you're doing a combo. Like if you hit them high in the sky with it, you can catch that there. I swear you can. Alright, let me just do this. Knock them high. And then there's your combo right there. And now, time for combos. Now, you want to switch up your combo slightly when you're starting a combo with your A attacks. So a lot of times you'll find yourself, if you're trying to run in and go low, because that's your fastest button, you're gonna do your combo a little differently. So if I try to do a combo normally, the opponent will hop out. So what you want to do here is just the one of these, just one of the swings. You want to cancel it early. So just the one swing, and then you knock him down. And now, instead of them flipping out, you can just do the whole thing. And that's the combo you should do if you're getting a light attack. And now I'm going to show you my preferred combo. Now, why I prefer that combo is because, as I showed you before, we get that knockdown, we can go for the cross up. So if our opponent's looking to grab, you can combo off of them. But I explained that already. And you know, also it's a side switch. And also, we can also do a safe jump, which is as simple as that, just 2 jumps. So you're just holding jump, and that's a safe jump right there. And to prove that to you that that is a safe jump, and we still block the DP. One more time. And we can do the same combo even if we start it with B. Now, you probably noticed during the combo that when I have them popped in the air, I only do the 2 skills, right? The standing one and the forward one. Now, I do that for a reason because, hey, I'll show you what happens if I do all 3. 1, 2, 3. The opponent flips out of the combo. So that's why we just do 2 in the air. Just that one hit can change up the combo. So you can either just do the 2 skills after you pop them up, or you can just do 1 attack off of this. So just after the standing M, just like that, just pop them up right after the first hit, which I'll show you here. Just 1 hit, then 1, 2, 3. And the combo works. So you can choose between doing 1 of these, just 1 of these, or after you pop them up, just 2 of these. But if you want to get all the hits, then you just have to change up the end of your combo. You do them all here, and we just end like that. So we just throw in the 2B and the forward M, those 6M. And for our corner combo, I added a little MP, I added 20 more. So for corner combo, pretty much the same thing. Except we do this instead. And we get some big damage there. Now, if you have more MP than that, this right here, just for a little extra damage. And with Awakening, same thing, except we just used our special at the end. And we get the big damage off of this. And lastly, I want to talk to you about the guard break combo. Now, as you saw at the beginning of the video, that's what I did on the Swiftmaster, but it's a little different with Troubleshooter, and I'll show you why. We do the same when we do the Swiftmaster. And as you can see, it's not enough. He has just a slither left. And even if we do the charge here, make sure we get all the hits in, still not enough. It disappears, but it's just not enough for us, right? And I didn't know this at first. I thought everybody had the same kind of guard gauge, but after testing it out on a few other characters, it turns out people have different properties there, right? So what we're gonna do instead for Troubleshooter is we're going to change it up and instead end with a 6M, and that's the perfect amount to guard break him. So you're gonna want to test this out on different characters so you can know exactly what you need to break them, because apparently people have different guard gauges. So I found, well, I haven't tested all the characters, but I found that the characters with more health have a bigger guard gauge, and then the squishy characters have the smaller guard gauge. So, you know, you can just go based off of that. And like right now, I'm gonna show you the whole thing together, the guard break plus the combo that comes afterwards. There it goes. Now, one last thing about that is after you break your opponent, you want to make sure you do the forward S, so you can then drag them in and then do the standing one afterwards. Gotta reach in and pull them back to you. Okay, so I tested the guard break combo on every single character, every single one, and I've come to find out that you're gonna have to do a different one for each of them. And it also depends on how many, like if I'm close to her and I get every hit of the charge, which is 4 ticks, and I end like this, it's gonna knock her down, so it's gonna be a waste of a guard break, right? But if on a medium character like a Troubleshooter, Hitman, Berserker, or even Vanguard, then that will work. So even if you get all the ticks of the charge, then it will work. If you do it from this distance, you only get 3 as opposed to 4. So you can do it if you get the 3 ticks, which would be just right amount to guard break. But if you get more hits of the tackle, then you will knock them down through the guard break. So it'll be kind of a waste. And also, if you're going against the bigger characters, well, I'll show the bigger characters later, like right after this, right? So it's gonna be, instead of trying to think of like what character you're against before you do your guard break combo, just look at the meter. Look at the meter, right? So keep your eye on the meter, and if I see it like right here and see that it's like one tiny little tick, that's what we'll go for the 2M. So we see that the tick is really tiny. Then we just go for this, and that'll be the perfect amount of damage, right? Because it's not a multi-hitting attack, it's just a single hitter. So when we see it get that low, that's when we're gonna go for the single hitter as opposed to going for this. Because if you go for that, it's gonna knock them over. Now for Hitman, Berserker, Vanguard, and I'm forgetting the other medium character. Well, for the medium-sized characters, I mean, also just like I said before, don't think more of the character, but make sure to look at the meter. Because if you look at the bigger character, you know, it's just easier if I just hop to it to show you. Berserker, like Troubleshooter, this won't work against. So we want to keep an eye on the meter. So if we look at the meter and we see that it needs more than that, as opposed to a tiny little tick, then we have to end with a 6M, and that'll be the perfect amount to guard break them. And this is for the medium-sized character, so always look at the gauge. Look at the gauge, because even you could be hitting them before the, like, they don't have to be full gauge, right? Because you're gonna be in a fight. Maybe they block some of your previous attacks, so always keep a look on it. And remember, if they have just a tiny bit left, then this is the perfect amount to do it, because it's a single hitter. And for the big characters like Lost Warrior, Crusader, and Grappler, you have to put in a whole lot of damage, right? So all that is still not enough. So you're gonna have to get close to your opponent first. So you go for that 4th hit here. So you can get the amount of damage that you need to guard break. So if you see the tiny little sliver left, that's when you go for the 2M. And if you see a little more than that, then you go for the 6M. You're gonna have to look at the guard gauge. That's the best way I could describe it to you if you're gonna go for the guard break combo. And real quick, for Crusader, who has the most of the guard gauge, you're gonna have to do even more to break him. Gonna have to do a jump in or something. Just a little something extra in order to guard break him. And that is my guide to Vanguard. I know it was a lot, I know, but there was a lot to go over. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for daily fighting game content. Also, leave a comment if I forgot anything, something you know that I maybe didn't hit on. And also, if this video has helped you, or you found something new out, then go ahead and leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching.